there's not really much you can do after their siege tank count gets above 8. And you can see he actually does have a lot more than 8 siege tanks on the field. And you can see these Hellions are actually making extremely quick work of all of the creep. Another thing that's annoying, you know, you spend all game trying to build up your creep, and all of a sudden it's all gone because of 1 or 2 scans. And you can see he's just slowly trying to push in. This is mostly for scout. He's trying to see what the Zerg player has. It's not really to the point of where he wants to do economic damage. He wants to see, what does the Zerg have? Can I really push up here and still be safe? Am I going to lose all my siege tanks if he decides to push out? This army here is going to be perfect if he chooses to use it to flank here. He'll be able to pick off these 4 unprotected siege tanks. And if he just decides to actually neural parasite the Thor, which is smartly being kept in the back, he can actually pick off a lot of siege tanks. But I think the siege tanks will focus fire Dimaga's units. You can see Dimaga's actually maxed. This is kind of an awkward position for Dimaga, and this is where mech play is just so scary to play against as a Zerg, because look at this, you have siege tanks everywhere. You do have a single Thor. If I were Dimaga, I would be building a lot of air units. You kill 2 Thors and you can have a heyday on all of these siege tanks. But the thing is, he's at the point where if he does choose to sack his units, he will lose the game. And look at this, like I was saying, here are 4 Broodlords, and watch how effective these are against mech play. You can see that the Vikings do hurt them, but I'm guessing this Queen's going to transfuse. There's a transfuse, watch this. This Broodlord's going to have such a tough time dying. It's so hard to kill him. This is where Zergs just really play effective, is the late game. And you can see, look at this Thor. This Thor is just shooting away. Both these Vikings, I mean, this thing has 3 anti-air units actually focusing it down, and it still has not died. You can see that that is really the reason why Zerg is so good late game. It's because of Broodlords and Ultralisks. But you can see that actually 4 Broodlords really changed the entire tide of that battle, forced all the siege tanks back, and now Dimaga feels comfortable enough to move out. He did lose all of his Broodlords though, and you can see that he's walking. This is what I was saying. Look at this. But he does actually just one-shot the siege tanks, but you can see that was not really an even exchange. He killed 4 or 5 siege tanks at the cost of all of those roaches. But I think he was just trying to sack roaches, and you can see actually behind in supply. But watch this supply count. Watch how fast it crawls up. 120, 118. Actually, look at this. With 6k in the bank, does he just not have larva? Look at all this larva here. I don't really know what Dimaga is doing. Dimaga may actually lose this because of his lack of larva count, but you can see just how quickly roaches get torn up by these siege tanks. I really think that push there was unfavorable. Actually getting 17 corruptors. So we will be seeing mass Broodlord play here in a couple of minutes. But the question is, does Dimaga have a couple of minutes to spare? You can see how fast these siege tanks destroy. You can see actually he's losing his larva. That may not seem like a big deal, but when you have no larva to speak of, you actually will not be able to produce units. And losing 7 or 8 larvae is actually a humongous deal. And watch this, you'll see all of these units here just stack up on each other and make a little metamorphosis cocoon, and these all will become deadly Broodlords, and that will probably win him the game. You can see he's actually sieging up right here. Really all Dimaga is trying to do is buy himself time before these Broodlords come out. I mean, he did build a lot of Broodlords. These Broodlords are going to be extremely susceptible to Viking play. Let's see, in the unit counting station, you can see actually with 8 Vikings on the field right now. So those Broodlords will be down pretty quickly unless you get some Corruptors to back them up. 17 more Corruptors, however. That is beautiful timing, because you'll see that the Vikings are going to come up to try to deal with this, but only to be encountered by 17 Corruptors. A Corruptor Broodlord mix is actually quite effective, but it is immobile. That's the only thing, is that if the Terran player decides to go with faster units like the Hellion, it is very hard to deal with. And you can see that, actually enough, luckily for the Terran, this base is mined out. So that means that he will not have to worry about this harassment by the Broodlords. And you'll see here, you see the Broodlords moving here, and if he scouts there's no minerals here, he will not try to harass it, but I think he may anyways, and you'll just see. This is what I'm saying. Look at this. There's really nothing a Terran player can do against this. All he's going to do is lose this Thor here eventually. He's going to lose this planetary fortress. Actually, this Thor... Oh, well, 3-3 upgrades. but you can see that there's so many Broodlords here. This is going to be extremely difficult for the Terran player to deal with. He's actually massing Vikings right now, which is in fact the correct response when someone builds almost 20 Broodlords with 17 Corruptors. And you can see there is a humongous Corruptor count, but he does have 0/0 upgrades, interestingly enough. So I don't really know how the Zerg player is going to react to this. You can see he's building Terrans, SCVs. He's really only mining off of one base, where dimaga has 3 bases here currently. So I don't really know what the Terran player is going to do here. Sorry about that, my computer actually did crash on me. My computer's a little bit on the fritz, but you can see actually dimaga is actually pushing the front. I don't really know what Bless can do with this. His siege tanks are going down. He's trying to kite his Vikings away from the Corruptors as best as he can. I don't really know what he can do though, as the Vikings are just constantly picking up Corruptors. The Corruptors are trying to focus down the Vikings, but there's really not much that the Vikings can do. You can see that actually the Corruptors are slowly picking up every single Viking. Only 4 remaining. 3, 2, 1, and with that, that is GG most likely. There's really nothing that Bless has in response except for this single Viking. This Viking saying, guys, seriously, I got this, man, don't worry. Oh shit, there's Corruptors all over the place, isn't there? And so now he's saying, this Viking brethren is here. They die together, and when the Viking brothers die, Bless decides that without his 2 heroes, it is GG. Time to go, and dimaga, being the gracious man that he is, GG's back. And Bless actually does lose this game. This is Big Bear StarCraft, hoping that you guys enjoyed this epic cast. Sorry about the crash. I mean, I would have restarted the game, but it was right at the end of it, so I decided to just go right through it. And I hope that you subscribe. Please subscribe if you enjoy my casts, so I will give you guys more. And make sure you leave me feedback too. I want to know if I am doing good, what I am doing well, so that I can keep doing it, and what I am not doing right at all. This is Big Bear StarCraft, signing out.